Hi, loves. Welcome to a new episode of AW Confidential. Today on AW Confidential, we're joined by actor Gary Hilborn, who has a long list of roles, which I cannot share here because we'll be here for a while, but definitely shows some of my favorites: Law and Order, Organized Crime, Blue Bloods, FBI's Most Wanted. That's just to name a few. Currently, you can catch Gary as Trent Patterson on the Netflix hit series and one of my favorites, which I was telling Gary, The Night Agent season 3. And if you haven't watched it, go binge it. I recommend it. Hi, Gary. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry I had to shorten it, but
That's okay.
when I first started the podcast, I wrote these well thought out long intros, and then I realized, you know what, I can lose people in these intros.
Right, right. No, no, it's good. It was perfect. I think it was
Okay,
perfect. Thank you very much.
awesome. So, congratulations. I just watched season 3.
Thank you.
Now, in The Night Agent, you step into the role of head of Secret Service, a position which represents authority and protection. What responsibility did you feel portraying that kind of power in today's climate?
That's an excellent question.
Let's hit them from the beginning.
No, I love it. I love it. Authority and protection. Well, I feel like in general, if you have reached a place of authority, then you have a responsibility to use that authority wisely and in service of the most good. I do like that Trent is a protector. And I think without giving anything away, but I think that we see that in his relationship with the character of Chelsea Arrington, who is back full time this season. She was a huge fan favorite in season 1. She had a little cameo at the end of season 2 to tease her return in season 3. And just as a side note, that actress, Fala Evans-Akingbola, she is a dream to work
Amazing.
with. I loved spending my time with her in season 3. But to answer your question, I think that you see Trent's protective nature when it comes to Chelsea. And I'm really grateful that we got to portray that on screen because it does let you see how Trent operates and what he thinks is important. And he is in a place of authority, but it's a benevolent authority. You know, he cares about all of the Secret Service agents who work for him as well as the people he's protecting.
Was there any pressure playing someone like that?
Pressure. You know, I think you want to live up to I'll just speak in general. The pressure is, there are people who put their heart and soul into creating these characters, and you want to live up to what they put on the page. And hopefully you can bring it off the page in a way that makes it feel like it's a real person. That's how you get invested in these stories. Is if you feel like you're watching somebody who has hopes, dreams, and fears, it's much easier for us to identify with them. So the
I
pressure was living up to the creator, Sean Ryan, and his amazing team of writers, living up to their ideas for the character. This is such an intricately layered story this season. Everyone's connected in ways that you find out throughout the season. And I love being a part of an ensemble. And I think that there's pressure in making sure you're not the weak link. It's such a rich story, especially this season, and our cast is just stacked with people whose names and faces you will recognize, and I want to make sure that I don't drop the ball. So it was an honor, but and it's also you feel a little like, okay, well, let's make sure that I keep
well,
it
you
landing the story.
Well, the thing was you made it so believable, and you're almost like you bring like balance to these characters because the characters, they're all so intense. I mean, from the lead to, I forgot, I don't want to give it away, but what is her name? She
The character named Isabel, the reporter.
Not the reporter, the one that she was sort of calling the shots for the
Yes.
night agent.
Yeah.
Um and we see what happens. So
Catherine. The character's name is Catherine.
Catherine,
Yes.
Catherine. So there's a lot of intense, and I won't even mention the others. I don't. I'm trying not to give the plot away.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but you sort of brought this balance. Like it was almost like this calmness to that dynamic, which I really, I don't know. I felt like it was needed because there was so much intensity.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. You know, like I was saying, these ensemble stories, we're all just one part of a bigger story that's being told. And you sort of, when you have high highs, you need to have balance, you need to have low low. The goal is to create a well thought out picture for the audience. And I think I can agree with you that Trent is a voice of reason in
Yes.
this world. And I think that's true to his character, and I think that would be true for someone in his position. He's charged with protecting the president. He needs to be, and the first family, and a host of other people, but specifically the president and the first family. You need those are high stakes situations that you're always in. You're always on guard, and you can't manage those situations. You can't become the director of Secret Service without proving your mettle in those situations. And I think you have to be able to keep a calm head.
Well,
And yeah, go ahead.
it's interesting because as I'm speaking to you, I
Hmm.
saw the 3rd season, so I saw you. I'm wondering how much of you came with the role? Like, what how much I wanna know,
Oh,
because
okay. All
even
right.
when I'm having this conversation with you, you're sort of soothing. You're just like, I had to bring my energy down. Not down, sort of you're calming. You have a calming effect right now.
Well, thank you. I'll take that. Thank you. I talk a lot about my dad. My dad passed away in 2021. Throughout my career, I have played a lot of, I'll say, roles that have this sort of occupation, FBI, CIA, detectives, SWAT commanders. There's something about that sort of law enforcement or law enforcement adjacent path that I've just fallen into as an actor, which is great. I love those roles. And I think what I bring to it is my dad, when he retired, he was a colonel in the army. So I grew up on a military base. And so my dad was constantly in a leadership position. And when he retired, he was the chief of staff of the Louisiana National Guard, which is a big position. He's in charge of a lot of people. And I think just seeing how he went about his life, I think he was a natural fit for that. And seeing how he handled positions of authority, I think rubbed off on me a little bit. So I always feel when I'm playing a role like this, I feel close to my dad. And
Thanks for
so,
sharing that. That
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so I think that's what it is without, but to me that makes sense if that's what's coming.
Was your dad sort of similar in his calm, sort of grounded nature? Was he because that's the impression I get from you for some reason.
I think he was. I think overall. Now listen, don't I did t-
Not you don't have
he did too. I tested his patience at times, but overall, he had a very level-headed demeanor. Like, let's look at this from all angles before we have an irrational response to whatever. So
yeah,
definitely,
I
I think
see
I get
that.
that.
I see that. Thanks for sharing that. That was it helped me connect with you. Thank you so much for that. So you've worked across the film and, and television industry. Do you think because we're talking about leadership and, grounding and sort of level-headedness and to me all those are powerful traits. Do you think that Hollywood's definition of a powerful man has shifted during your career? Because I found you powerful even on screen, even though you had that calmness. Power does comes to me in different versions.
Or, I think that as a society, I think that's a question that we're constantly asking ourselves. Like, what does healthy power that doesn't diminish others? I think to just follow that thread, I think that as a society, we are putting a value on power that doesn't diminish others, that allows others to still retain their own sense of agency. And I hope that is being reflected in the art that we're making and the stories we're telling, because ultimately I do think that pop culture, music, television shows, films, books, I think that that is a reflection of culture as a whole. And so I would hope that we are seeing shift in the positive direction of what powerful looks like.
Is there any change that you would like to see in the future that maybe you feel like we're lacking or we're missing?
Just in general, I think that the way our media landscape has evolved, including social media, but also just everything. We just have so much out there for us to consume. So it's very easy for us to live in our information silos and get very caught up in only seeing the things that we think pertain to us, whatever that may be, whether it be gender identity, sexual orientation, race, socioeconomic, like I just want to see reflected back to me what I am. And I think what that has done is it has allowed us to just get very closed off and not listen and not be open to whatever we perceive as a different experience than our own, because at the end of the day, we have so much more in common than we have that are differences. Those differences are usually so surface level, and they're not, like I said earlier, hopes, dreams, and fears. We all have them, and a lot of us share the same ones. So I would just like to see in the world a change that we would just be a little more open to taking in an experience that on the surface looks different from ours. I think that would help a lot.
I love that. And I agree 100%. Now, I read somewhere, I think,
Okay.
that you're developing your own screen.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for asking about that. The title of it
Uh,
is Sev Sharp. It's and that's the lead character's name, Sev Sharp, and it's It's a screenplay idea that I had kicking around in my head for at least a decade, and it's definitely not biographical. It's fiction. It's a film noir sort of detective story set in the modern day, but there are similarities. There are some shared experiences between myself and that character. I like to say that this character is sort of the funhouse version of my life. I was very fortunate. I had great family support, not a lot of complaints about my childhood or anything like that. But this character is, what if, instead of things going this way for me and I'm, in one direction, a positive direction, what if they all just went in a negative direction? What would I be like then? So I say that to say that it took 10 years for me to actually sit in a chair and stare at the blank screen and get it into a screenplay format, because I think there were a lot of things that I had to heal within myself, because it was touching on some things that, that were deep, and I didn't realize that. I didn't think that, but I set a deadline for myself last year to finish the screenplay. And I did. I met my own deadline, which I was
oh,
pat on the back about that. And then I sent it off to some friends in the industry. The reception has been great. And it is something that I'm hoping to get produced. As I look at the calendar, we're already almost in March when we're recording this. The goal was toward the end of this year to start shooting. That might carry over into next year, but it is something that I'm actively pursuing getting off the ground.
what was that just catalyst to sort of saying, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write this? And now,
Uh,
why now?
I felt like it was one of those unfinished things that it really came down to stage fright. Ultimately, I was afraid to put it on paper, and then what? Then I have to let people read it, and then I have to make it. So ultimately, it's just stage fright. I was afraid of putting that. It was a vulnerability thing that I had to wrestle with, and you know, I I've done a lot of work in therapy and to try to
Hey,
get.
I'm the president of that club.
I love it. I'm a big proponent of therapy, but I think I finally got to the place where I had dealt with that enough, that fear of being seen, which is an odd thing for an actor to have, but it is. And I was ready to stand behind my work. So I think it was just, I got to a place in my own personal growth where I felt like I can do this. And I was tired of my own excuses for not doing it. I really
It's
didn't
freeing, isn't it?
so freeing. And honestly, a real confidence booster when you do the thing you say you're going to do, when you hold yourself accountable and you get it done, you're like, hey, I just did a thing. I just did the thing that has been looming over me. And now I feel accomplished. So that was a huge development for me.
Congratulations. I hope that we get to see that on
Thank you.
screen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So you portray a man who is responsible for protecting power. Huge responsibility. In your own life, what keeps you steady under pressure? And what do you protect in your own life?
There are a few things. I protect my sobriety. That was something that was hard won, and it can be gone in a second. So that's something that I prioritize, because without that, there's nothing else can happen for me. But as a part of that and beyond that, I'm very fortunate that I have family that I consider my friends and friends that I consider my family. And I have relationships with people that go back 20, 30 years or more. And that feels like a rich life for me to have that. And I I work on that, and I try to make time for connecting with those people as often as I can because they ground me and they are my cheerleaders when I'm not feeling like cheering myself on. And I'm so grateful to have that. I'm so grateful to have that. And so, staying in contact with the people who have known me longest and know me best and care about me and whom I care about and is huge. That's a huge thing for me.
I felt that. So we like to close the episode with a truth bomb closer. That's what I call it.
Okay.
So I want to ask you if there was a piece of advice that you can give us on protecting our peace, what would it be?
Yeah. Let's see.
Mm.
Protecting our peace. Let me make sure I give this one some thought. So, this was a hard one for me. Let go of what you think you're supposed to be. I think dropping the weight of other people's opinions of you is huge. Find your own North Star, your own inner truth, because people are people and everybody's doing their best. But people's opinions in general, especially of you, are really a reflection of what they feel about themselves. And it's usually not, even if we get our feelings hurt or we take it the wrong way, it's usually not ill intentioned. I think most people are doing the best they can and they think they're giving you good advice or they think that their opinion is going to help you in some way. But we project our own fears onto other people. So find your own North Star and get quiet and listen to that when the world is loud. Cultivate that.
Wow. Gary, thank you so I wasn't expecting this. I really wasn't. Thank you.
Thank you
Um
so much. Thank you. Thank you for the conversation. I love this conversation.
well, see, that's my gift. And I mean, you're I don't know. I believe in energy and that exchange of energy today, I needed it. So it happens that I'm recording on the third anniversary of my mom's passing.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And thanks. And I don't know, you just kind of grounded me today. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being you. I mean, I don't know you, but I feel like you're an amazing human. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry about your mom.
She's
Speaking
here
of,
somewhere.
she's with you. She's with you. She's with you. You're carrying her with you. That's great.
Thank you. And please share with us how do we find Gary Hilborn?
Well, I'm Gary Hilborn on all socials. I'm most active, honestly, on Instagram. That one's
Perfect.
just the easiest for
We
me.
love Instagram.
Yeah, it's photos and videos, and I have a healthy. My algorithm is now very healthily artists painting and inspirational quotes. That's mostly.
Man, the algorithm. I gotta tell you, so what I do is there's a certain time I set like a clock on it. At a certain time, shuts down. I don't get any notifications, nothing. It's can be a real dark hole. You have to, and we're talking about protecting your peace.
Yeah,
It's really hard sometimes.
I get it. I get it. We just have to be mindful of it, and it is not easy to do.
100%. Well, congratulations. I look forward to seeing your film. And loves, thank you for joining us today. Remember that power isn't about the title, it's about how you carry it. If this episode spoke to you, please pass it on. And I will talk to you soon, loves. Take care.